Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Presicilia Sally Palimbong. My student number is A121201998. I'm from class K, and today I'm gonna explain about component of language, component of speaking, and speaking devices. So let's move to the first one is about component of language. First is phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is the study of individual speech sounds, and phonology is the study of phonemes, which are the speech sounds of an individual language. These two heavily overlapping subfields cover all the sounds that humans can make, as well as which sounds make up different languages. A phonologist could answer the question, why do bat and tap have different meanings even though they are made of the same three sounds, A, B, and T? And the second is morphology. Morphology is the study of words and other meaningful units of language like suffixes and prefixes. A morphology would be interested in the relationship between words like dog and dogs or walk and walking, and how people figure out the differences between those words. The third is syntax. Syntax is the study of sentences and phrases, or how people put words into the right order so that they can communicate meaningfully. All languages have underlying rules of syntax, which along with morphological rules make up every language grammar. An example of syntax coming into play in language is Eugene walked the dog versus the dog walked Eugene. The order of words isn't arbitrary. In order for the sentence to convey the intended meaning, the words must be in a certain order. The fourth is cinematics and pragmatics. Cinematics more generally is about the meaning of sentences. Someone who studies cinematics is interested in words and what real word, object, or concept those words denote or point to. Pragmatics is an even broader field that studies how the context of a sentence contributes to meaning. For example, someone shooting fire has a very different meaning if they are in charge of a seven-god salute than it does if they are sitting in a crowded movie theater. The second one is component of speaking. Fluency is defined as the ability to speak communicatively, fluently, and accurately. Fluency usually refers to express oral language freely without interruption. In teaching and learning process, if the teacher wants to check students' fluency, the teacher allows students to express themselves freely without interruption. The aim is to help students speak fluently and with ease. The teacher doesn't correct immediately, whereas the idea being that too much correction interferes with the flow of conversation. Pronunciation is the way for students to produce clearer language when they are speaking. It means that the student can communicate effectively when they have good pronunciation and intonation, even though they have limited vocabulary and grammar. Pronunciation refers to the traditional or customary adherence of words. From that statement can be concluded that pronunciation is the way for students to produce the utterance words clearly when they are speaking. English pronunciation doesn't amount to mastery of a list of sounds or isolated words. Instead, It amounts to learning and practicing the specifically English way of making a speaker's thought easy to follow. More, Moreover, pronunciation includes all those aspects of speech which make for an easily intelligible flows of speech, including segmental articulation, rhythm, intonation, and phrasing, and more peripherally, even gesture, body language, and eye contact. Based on the statement above, can be concluded that pronunciation includes many aspects. And the second is grammar. Grammar is needed for the students to arrange correct sentences in conversation, both in written and oral forms. Grammar is defined as a systematic way of accounting for and predicting an ideal speaker's or hearer's knowledge of the language. This is done by a set of rules or principles that can be used to generate all well-formed or grammatical utterances in the language. Moreover, the other definition of grammar stated by Greenbaum and Nelson in 2002 argued that grammar refers to the set of rules that allow us to combine words in our language into larger units. The grammar of a language is the description of the ways in which words can change their forms and can be combined into sentences in that language. Thus, from the statements above can be concluded that the function of grammar is to arrange the correct meaning of sentences based on the context. In addition, it is used to avoid misunderstanding in each communicator. The third is vocabulary. Vocabulary is essential for successful second language use because without an extensive vocabulary, we will be unable to use the structure and function we may have learned for comprehensible communicative. It can be said that one key to success in communicative, which is the power of words. Vocabulary means that appropriate diction or the most important thing in a language, especially in speaking. Furthermore, knowing many vocabularies, we will be easier to express our ideas, feelings, and thoughts both in oral or written form. Oral vocabulary is the set of words for which we know the meanings when we speak or read orally. Written vocabulary consists of those words for which the meaning is known when we write or read silently. And the last one is speaking devices. The first one is monologue. Monologue is a literary device featuring a speech made by a single character in a work of literature or dramatic work, or for theater or film. Monologues allow a character to address other characters present in the scene and or the reader or the audience. Monologue originates from the Greek roots for alone and speak. This literary device is purposeful and effective in storytelling as it provides the reader or audience details about a character and the plot. In addition, monologue is a useful method for writers to share the internal thoughts of a character as well as their backstory to enhance the reader's understanding of the character's motivations and importance to the narrative. Purpose of the monologue is an effective literary device, particularly in terms of developing a character and contributing to the reader's understanding of the character. In addition, a well-written monologue can be a powerful method for a writer to deliver their thoughts, ideas, and beliefs regarding an important subject through one of their characters, as well as enhancing the reader's enjoyment of the narrative's plot. Here are the primary purposes of monologue in literature. First, voice of character. When writers include a natural monologue that is relevant to the story, it allows the reader to become familiar with a character's authentic voice and point of view. The second, motivation of character. A well-written monologue can help readers understand a character's motivation in terms of behavior within a narrative. And the last is backstory of character. The use of monologue is important of character and plot development as it can reveal details about both of these story elements. These details provide information and meaning for the reader, move the narrative forward, and indicate the impact of a character's traits and past events in terms of the overall story. And the second is dialogue. Plato initially used the term dialogue to describe Socratic dialectic works. These works feature dialogues with scholasts, and they were intended to communicate philosophical ideas. As a current literary device, dialogue refers to spoken lines by characters in a story that serve many functions, such as adding context to a narrative, establishing voice and tone, or setting forth conflict. What should dialogue do? First is reveal emotions. Second, draw the reader into the character's life. The third, show the reader how the character reacts to different situations such as pressure, intimacy, hate, love, or fear. The fourth, move the story forward. Every piece of dialogue should have a purpose, hint, and the fifth is hint at or tell of coming events. The sixth is give balance to a story after a long section of narrative. 7, increase the pace of the story. 8, contribute humor. And the last is reflect the changes in emotions and lifestyle of your characters. And what should dialogue not do? The first is summarize action that could otherwise be exciting. The second is first feed information to the reader. Tell the characters something they would already know purely to fill in background to the reader. The third is act as permitting to achieve a word count. The fourth is ramble on without the characters learning anything new or achieving something. And the last is sound exactly like real speech with interruption, rambling, repetition, and shudders, although these have their place. I think that's all my explanation about the three components that I have explained. I'm so sorry if there is a word that I say wrong, I mean like I pronounce it wrong, I'm so sorry. And yes, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.